This report is a compilation of two larger research projects aimed at trying to better understand YouTube's demonetization bot. The report have a goal and intention to help struggling YouTubers to avoid demonetization, something which has forced countless YouTubers to stop making videos on YouTube and for employees to be fired. The first research project that we will showcase is a project started by the YouTuber Cybreed and later automated by myself, CeeLo of Ocelot AI. The project primarily consists of a 15,000 word list of monetized versus demonetized title keywords. The list will serve as a great guideline for which words are at high risk of demonetizing any given video. The list is best interpreted as a list of negatively charged keywords, as certain words are deemed to be more severe than others. The demonetization bot classifiers have a hidden confidence level ranging from 0 to 1. If your video is above YouTube's threshold, your video will be demonetized, and a manual review is required. As a result, you can still manage to get some videos monetized with titles containing some of the negatively charged words. You are, however, putting yourself at a constant disadvantage by doing so. The list is best utilized when a video is demonetized and you need to quickly identify if a word in the title is causing the demonetization. During our research period, Cybreed was able to get several videos monetized by removing totally acceptable words from a title, such as restaurant or house. Our testing list contains endless amount of similar words that are perfectly fine, yet will negatively impact your chance of monetization. We also conducted an experiment using 100 titles taken from top search results for gay and lesbian to approximate how many LGBTQ video titles are unfairly affected by the well-documented LGBTQ demonetization. We then retested the titles that were demonetized by replacing the LGBTQ terminology with words such as friend or happy. This being to test whether the same titles would be okay for monetization had they not featured gay or lesbian. This is also a great way to test if YouTube's classifiers are in fact capable of recognizing context to an acceptable level. The demonetization list project testing was conducted during a 2-month period. The first testing period included 1,500 words that were manually tested by Cybreed between the 2nd of June to the 5th of July 2019. The second period included 14,000 words and was automated using the YouTube Data API by myself, CeeLo, from the 6th of July to the 21st of July. All videos tested were 1 to 2 seconds long and featured no visual or audio content that could trigger demonetization. All future versions, including the list for September, will be available in the description and will be tested exclusively by Cybreed. During our testing, we found a significant amount of weird outliers. We then compiled 300 of these outliers into a Google spreadsheet that you can find in the description of this video. The list contains words such as restaurant, ebooks, you, program, sunglasses, then, there, that, these, stare, SQL, database, images, photos, cameras, hotel, hotels, Expedia, gay, lesbian, from, farms, farming, kilometer, profit, say, says, saving, tickets and tourism, just to name a few. It should be made clear that terms such as woman, gay, lesbian, Democrat and liberal are likely negatively charged due to their use in political commentary that is often deemed to be non-advertiser friendly by manual review. That is not to say that this doesn't have a negative impact on minorities and will lead to discriminatory demonetization of perfectly acceptable videos regardless of context. The classifiers that YouTube use are probabilistic, and if certain words are overrepresented for manually confirmed demonetized videos, then the demonetization classifiers will have an increasingly harder and harder time to differentiate between what is and isn't acceptable, resulting in more and more perfectly acceptable videos being demonetized and requiring a manual review. A very good example of this is animals, which in July led to videos being demonetized due to the large amount of animal fighting videos on YouTube, despite the titles making no mention of fighting or abuse. That is not to say that most of these outliers are understandable, however, as the list of outliers contain words such as restaurant, sunglasses, Xerox, PayPal, and ebooks. A few weird trends among these outliers are other companies and products, such as PayPal, Xerox, Expedia, hotels, Sorb, Sumis, WordPress, Dell, and Shrek, that were all demonetized during our testing. Likewise, payment-related terms such as profit, billing, revenues, savings, selling, sales, referrals, payroll, euro were all demonetized during our testing period in July. Another trend is programming terms such as database, SQL, program, HTTP, XML, XHTML, username, password, which should all be perfectly fine for all types of monetization unless explicitly stated alongside hacking terms or feature frequent swearing, neither of which were present during our testing. In order to estimate how widespread unfair demonetization of terms such as gay and lesbian are, we conducted a small experiment featuring 100 titles from the top search results for gay, lesbian, and LGBTQ. The demonetized titles were then modified by replacing the LGBTQ terminology with friend and happy to see if the same videos would now be monetized. You can find a link to the full spreadsheet in the description of this video. 33 out of the 100 titles that we deemed to be perfectly fit for monetization were demonetized despite being perfectly fine by all standards. The list of demonetized titles include titles such as Gay and Lesbian Guide to Vienna, Vienna Now, LGBTQ TikTok compilation in honor of Pride Month, Top 10 lesbian couples in Hollywood who got married, Lesbian Princess, Lesbian Daughters with Mom. What is more shocking is the fact that when we retested these titles, after replacing the LGBTQ terminology such as gay and lesbian with happy and friend, every single video that we tested were now monetized, which more than explain the LGBTQ community's outrage over being demonetized for LGBTQ terminology, as perfectly acceptable context is still demonetized by the bot, where the exact same videos are monetized without the LGBTQ terminology. This is not a matter of LGBTQ personalities being demonetized for something that everyone else would also be demonetized for, such as talking about sex or tragedy. This is LGBTQ terminology like gay and lesbian being the sole reason for a video being demonetized despite being perfectly acceptable context. It is crucial to realize that this arguably discriminatory pattern of a demonetization bot is still present in 33% of titles tested, despite being a well-known issue for almost 2 years now. This issue is made even worse given comments by YouTube's VP of all products, Neil Mohan, who in an interview with the Mexican YouTuber Luisito Comuncia stated the following after being asked about why LGBTQ terminology lead to videos being demonetized.
Because it also happens, and this has happened to me personally, that when I upload a video that contains the word gay or transsexual or anything related to LGBTQ community, it gets demonetized, and that happens. Like, it has happened to me maybe 3 times. Why is this? Like, why does the system react this way?
I can just tell you categorically that there is no list of words or keywords or terms or anything like that that is going to go into our classifiers making an a priori decision about whether a video is monetized or not. While we may have made mistakes in the past, the nature of our algorithms is that they continue to learn from those mistakes, continue to get better. And we also have programs in place, and Google's striving to be an industry leader in this area of things like machine learning fairness. We want to continue to learn from any mistakes that were made in the past, and there's nothing in terms of how our monetization algorithms work that should be based on any kind of a pre-described or predetermined list. And while we may have made mistakes in the past,
given these comments, it's made clear that Mohan highly insinuate that LGBTQ demonetization is no longer an issue, and that it's a thing of the past. Given our testing results, it's made clear that these comments are not accurate. While the current situation may certainly be better than 2 years ago, it is far from what most LGBTQ creators would deem as acceptable. Hearing YouTube's VP of all products calling this issue resolved when the reality is far different is a very worrying statement, as it would imply that YouTube are significantly less likely to allocate resources to try and fix the issue if they no longer believe that it's an actual issue. Especially as Mohan is actually the person that have the control to allocate those resources to fix the problem. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki, however, had a much more reasonable response in a recent interview with the YouTuber Alfie Days.
One question that the number one most popular question that I got to ask that touches a little bit on that is the amount of LGBTQ plus content that is instantly demonetized on YouTube, any content that's based on sexuality or sex, and how that doesn't contradict with the freedom of expression.
So we do not automatically demonetize LGBTQ content.
Because I've heard rumors like, have the word lesbian in your tag to your thumbnail or your title, instant flag.
So we work incredibly hard to make sure that our systems are fair. We have a ML fairness initiative. ML stands for machine learning, to make sure that our algorithms and the way that our machines work are fair. There is no policy, of course, because we want to have all different voices representing all different points of view on our system, and we want them on our platform. And just backing up for a minute, I mean, the LGBTQ community has been an incredibly important part of YouTube.
Sure.
We have so many creators. I want to be sensitive to people who have those concerns, and we always enable people to appeal any kind of demonetization decision. And so again, I'm it always comes down to the specific video and what was in the video and what happened in the video, and I want to be sensitive to people who are saying like those were experiences that they had. But we always offer an appeal process. We always look back and understand, and we're always trying to make sure that whatever false positives we had are reviewed, right? So the more...
In regards to the questions whether there's no flagged words from specifically that community that is more likely to be demonetized, Wojcicki replied that there shouldn't be.
There's no like flagged words from specifically that community that is like more likely to be demonetized.
There shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be. Okay.
No.
Our testing results is however proof of the contrary, as every demonetized title was deemed to be advertiser friendly the moment that we replaced the LGBTQ terminology. That is however not to take away from the fact that it's clear that Wojcicki genuinely does care about the LGBTQ community. Because while the demonetization bot do inhabit several arguably discriminatory patterns, it should be made clear that this is not due to YouTube policies nor a lack of programs in place to mitigate algorithmic discrimination. It is simply the result of the probabilistic nature of the machine learning classifiers that YouTube use for the demonetization bot. Because while it might be easy to believe that the classifiers will eventually be able to fully recognize the context given enough training data, the reality is often that the data is full of noise, such as several LGBTQ videos that are talking about sex, and several anti-LGBTQ videos that have all been confirmed by manual review to be demonetized. As a result, the classifier will have a significantly harder and harder time to differentiate between what is and isn't acceptable, which have resulted in several LGBTQ videos being unfairly demonetized and needing manual review that will often cost the creator several hundreds of dollars every upload. It should also be made clear that another anti-LGBTQ shooting or a similar tragedy in the future could have massive implications on the future demonetization of LGBTQ terminology. Even though such an unfortunate development would certainly be understandable from YouTube's end, it does however showcase the downfall of using probabilistic machine learning classifiers in comparison to more logical implementations. The second project was made by myself and VK and focused on a new advertising tier called limited inventory. The ad tier was first discovered by seeing a clear difference in CPM for videos containing swearing and no swearing in early 2018. This pattern was later confirmed via clear testing results in late spring of 2018. A direct link between double-click revenue, Google's premium advertising brand, and higher CPM videos was also established during this testing period. The system was later added to all advertisers in early September later that year. Despite this new system being publicly available to all advertisers for over a year now, YouTube have never disclosed this change to the community, nor give them any indication or way to request a review. The reason why you might already know about this change is because of our original testing last year and its subsequent spread among YouTubers. So to make it clear, no official communication channel by YouTube have ever acknowledged this change. Neither YouTube's recently updated advertiser-friendly guideline nor Creators Insider's video about demonetization ever mention this being a thing, despite the former video being endorsed by YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki. They are in fact giving outright misleading information that would severely hurt a channel's income by not being cleared for the limited ad inventory, which is known to give more than double the ad revenue compared to the standard inventory. As an example, YouTube's help page makes clear that occasional use of profanity won't necessarily result in your video being unsuitable for advertising, but context matters. They also state that strong profanity is disallowed while light profanity is allowed on their content examples help page, and yet again, this was very recently updated just a few weeks ago. Google's ad help page, however, clearly differentiates between light, moderate, and strong profanity, where moderate profanity is excluded for the limited inventory ad tier alongside moderate sexually suggestive behavior or a music video containing sexual content. This ad tier difference of moderate profanity and moderate sexually suggestive content have never been disclosed to the community by YouTube. You can only find this information on Google Ads. By not disclosing this ad tier, YouTube have left upcoming and well-established channels to lose out on upwards of double the revenue, for absolutely no good reason at all. A difference that can be crucial between being able to survive as an independent creator or having to fire people as a larger company. The former is actually well documented in the video Where is Mariah? By the multi-channel owner Matthias, who starting at 1352 explained that he had to fire an employee of the channel Wrecked due to the channel operating at a loss. However, not due to the viewership being low, but specifically that the CPM for the channel was significantly lower than any of his other channels. In the video, Matthias states that the channel's CPM was a tenth of what it should have been, CPM being how much you get paid per every 1,000 views. A clear victim of horrendous communication by YouTube that resulted in an employee having to be fired for absolutely no good reason at all.
Mariah, I want to make sure you guys go check out her channel, go subscribe, go give her some support. She is such an awesome person and it really sucks to part ways with her. I guess it's just really difficult because Wrecked was in a place that it was bleeding basically and we were just losing money on it. And I'm being real with you right now. We were just losing a lot of money. And you get to a point where it's like you can keep going and trying to make everyone happy, or sometimes you need to make some sacrifices to let some people keep their jobs and stay. And that really sucks. It really sucks, and that's a part of business, which really sucks because my goal of High Five Studios has always been to like bring creative, passionate people together. And I think the thing that like troubles me so much is the process of not always being able to do what you want. You know, fighting with that idealistic part of my brain with like the reality part of you know, of like life. We had to make a ton of cutbacks to Rect, a ton of cutbacks on Rect because the CPM was crazy low. We were getting demonetized left and right. The back end YouTube side was just screwed up on Rect. And I think we're finally starting to come out of that with that channel. But, you know, operating for months with, you know, demonetization happening, operating for months with like a crazy low CPM, which means the amount of money you make back was like a tenth of like what it should have been. So we just were like spending and spending and spending and spending and not making anything. And I think that's so frustrating. That's just the volatility of YouTube.
There is absolutely no good reason for YouTube to be keeping this new ad tier a secret. Even if that means that we don't have manual reviews. Just knowing about this being a thing have been enough for hundreds of creators to massively increase the amount of money that they make by actively trying to never swear in their videos even once. So how do you get into the limited inventory? This part of the advertising system is actually very straightforward. Never swear in your videos, not even a single time. Damn, hell, shoot, etc. are all fine, but a single ass, shit, or something more severe will instantly remove your video from a limited inventory, leaving you with less than half of the ad revenue. Kill, shoot, die, weapon, etc. are all fine if your video is in the gaming category, but blood or gore are not acceptable. You should also scan all of your future thumbnails using Google's Vision AI. You can do this for free just by drag and dropping images onto their page. If your thumbnail is scoring high on racy or adult, your video will not be acceptable for the limited ad tier. Yet again, losing you more than double the revenue. As a final word of this report, Andrew, who I collaborated with on the first part of this report, is going to keep updating the word list with the help of community funding. I do, however, first want to make it clear that I will not continue any work myself, and I will not receive any part of the donations. But if you are a creator, this will be the best opportunity the community has ever had when it comes to understanding the demonetization bot. If you are a creator, I highly advise that you support the project to make sure that it's still around in the future. As if a future update would lead to several of your videos being demonetized, then Andrew's project will likely be very crucial for your ability to quickly get monetized again. And with that, I conclude this report.